Oh hey everybody, we're out at the Ecoscape and I'm going to show you how to set up your quadrats for the non-native invasive species lab. Okay, we're looking at the quadrat. It's 1 meter on each side. You'll see that I got meter sticks that are laid out to show the dimensions, although you're not going to have 4 meter sticks to do this. Instead, you're going to be using these little flags at each of the corners, as you see at all those corners there. So you're going to measure it out with your 1 meter stick, maybe 2, to make sure you square the plot with those corners. The next thing I want to show you is the variety of plants that are growing in here. You don't have to learn all these that I'm going to talk about, but this shows you the varieties that you might see. This is Virginia creeper, this is laurel cherry, this is gallium, and you see that as we pan across the quadrat that there's lots of these plants that are growing here. You're going to be identifying them and recording their numbers. Okay, one of the things I want to show you is that when you have plants that are on the border, they should only be counted if they're in the quadrat. So these two plants here, these are both Virginia creeper stems. This one is outside the quadrat. And so because it's rooted outside the quadrat, you do not count it, even though its leaves are overlapping inside the quadrat just a little bit. This one right here is rooted inside the quadrat, so you would count that, and the other plant right there hiding underneath it. And even though they overlap the borders, because they're rooted inside the quadrat, we count them. Okay, another thing I want to show you is that for large stems like this laurel cherry tree, we do not count them. If their diameter at the base, and remember a diameter is the cross section of a circle, so imagine the base of the plant as a circle. If their diameter at the base is more than 3 centimeters, you do not count it. So here you go, you can measure it up there, you can see it's about 6 centimeters. We are not going to count this stem. The last thing I want to show you is what do you do when you get a clump of grass. Now I don't have any grass that's inside the quadrat, but here's a whole clump of grass right here. We're going to count this as one clump. It's all growing from the same root, even though there's multiple stems. So if you zoom out, you see how there's that distinct clump there. There's another species that would here, you would count this as separate. But each of these individual bits within the clump, you would count as all part of the same clump. Okay, so here we'd have 1 clump and 2 clump, and those would be 2 different species of grass. You can see the differences in the texture and the shape of the leaves there.